Hello, bankers. A very good evening to all of you. Welcome back. So, guys, in this particular session, we are going to discuss and decode our unit number 6 from IE&IFS module A. Right. So, it is all about globalization. Very small unit, and you can expect on an average half marks question based on this particular unit. Sometime like what we have experienced in last 6 to 7 session of IIBF, they haven't asked any direct question, but it is something related with your interconnectedness of financial market. Okay, so there was one unit in your module C, interconnectedness of financial market. So that is like that become more important. तो वहां से क्वेश्चन आपको देखने के लिए मिलेगा, which is something linked with the globalization things and all. Though we have a probability of half marks question, and with this particular discussion, we will be able to understand or solve those questions related to this particular unit, right? So, globalization impact on Indian economy. So, this is the topic. So, if we talk about this subtopic, globalization, the concept, globalization and its advocacy, globalization and its impact on India, fair globalization and the need for policy framework, globalization in reverse gear, so threaten a re-emergence of protectionism. So that is the one. Even last to last year, there was one question based on this protectionism based aspects and all. Okay, so what are the merit, demerit, something like this. Okay. So these are the subtopics which are generally part of this particular one. Okay. So within like with the help of number of MCQs and case studies, we are going to solve these particular or build our understanding toward this particular one. Okay. So we will start our today's discussion with very first question. Which of the following, which organization popularized the term globalization in mid 1980s? So it is OECD. So Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. Okay? So OECD was the very first organization who generally push, or we can say who generally promote the globalization terminologies, who generally ask economies to adopt this globalization so we can have better sharing of resources and all, and that can contribute to the overall economic development. Okay? So OECD played a key role in during mid 80s, promoting open trade and economic cooperation among the nation itself. Okay? So let's see the background of globalization. So globalization is basically building relations beyond the nations. Okay? So it is all about ki, like nowadays we do have a major role of globalization in world economy or the overall growth of world economy. Nowadays countries, they have dependency on other also. They do share the resources. It can be related to minerals or the machine or the technology or the process knowledge and all. Okay? So every country in the world, so nowadays we have the open economic architecture. Apart from some countries, they do have protectionism nowadays also, like country like North Korea and all. Okay? But mostly you will see nowadays we have open economies. Okay? So closed economy, we can refer to North Korea, but that is not also a completely closed economy. Rest of the economies, they are following the open economic structure. Okay? So globalization is something ki jahan pe we are having a dependency on other countries. Okay? So whatever excess things we have or resources, we are sharing with other countries, and if we have some sort of deficit, so we are procuring from the other countries. ठीक है, तो ये जो लेन देन आपका है, जो इंटरनेशनल ट्रेड है या फिर आपका मूवमेंट्स ऑफ ह्यूमन कैपिटल है, that entire things that generally comes under globalization. ठीक है, so we basically a kind of a one nation one word concepts, right? So it's defined as rise in economic integration. Okay? So it is all about the economic integration among the nations. Okay? The concept of globalization is an ancient one, dating back in 18th century, the World War One, then Great Depression, and then World War Two, force a retreat form of globalization. Several trade obstacles were raised. However, in the mid 80s, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development (OECD) popularized the term yet again. ठीक है. So earlier also, like, we have some sort of groupism, ठीक है, that was not the part of core globalization, but that was something called groupism, ठीक है. So we have some countries like USSR or US or Europe and all, ठीक है. So they used to they have a connectivity. That connectivity was limited to some reason and all, ठीक है. So then after these three major incident worldwide, so basically it promote the overall kind of economic integration, we can say, again. So globalization is described by World Trade Organization (WTO) as the development toward unrestricted cross-border flows of goods and services, capital and labor forces. The concept was formally introduced in India with LPG or New Economic Reform Policy 1991-92, where we formally adopt this globalization things आपका with the model of LPG. So G for globalization. All right. So next one, guys. Which of the following statement about globalization are correct? So we have to find out the correct statement related to globalization. Globalization lead to increase in interconnectedness among economies, culture and people. 100% true. It promote economic growth through cross-border trade, investment in technology. Again true. Again. Globalization has no impact on social justice. It does impact the social justice and human right awareness also. Okay. So this statement is wrong. Trade initiative help by reducing supply side and trade related barriers. Again true. Okay. Developing countries can benefit from globalization by catching up the developed economies through industrial growth and diversification. Again true. Okay. So this statement of 5 is also correct. See what happens, they do have an advantages of early birth. Okay. So kahin na kahin, let's say country like US, if they have developed some new technology, so the consumption earlier it was limited to their country or their neighboring countries. With this globalization, they can now sell their products or services across the countries. Okay? So they do have these advanced technologies and all. So they want to spread it across the world and they want to make business. So this is something which generally gives some extra edge to these developed nations. All right. So 1, 2, 4, 5. 1, 2, 4, 5 means option 5 will be option B will be right answer for this particular question. Okay. So the only statement incorrect was globalization does not it does impact the social justice and human right awareness also. Like we have global institutions who generally work toward these particular one to protect the human rights or to develop the human capital as well. Right. Next one. Which of the following statement about the impact of globalization on India are incorrect? So now we have to find out the incorrect statement about the globalization impact on Indian economy. So globalization led to a decrease per capita income. No, this is wrong. But increase employment opportunities, increase in per capita income as well as increase in employment. It should be right answer here. So this is wrong. It encouraged India to invest in farm mechanizations and commercial farming to compete globally. Yes, this is right. Yeah. Then we have 1991 reform slowed down India's economic growth. No, they generally help Indian economy growth due to increased competition and all. No, okay. So 1991 reforms are the most important reforms of Indian economy, which we have discussed with our 5-year plan or even the other one also. Okay. So these two statements are wrong, and we have to find out the wrong statement only. Okay. So statement 1 and 3. So statement 1 and 3 means option D will be right answer for this particular one. Okay. So statement 1 was incorrect. Globalization resulted in higher per capita income for better job opportunities. Statement third was also incorrect. 1991 reform accelerated India's economic growth rather than the slowing it down, right? So with 5-year plan also we have built our understanding how suddenly our growth rate increased just after this new economic reforms or applying that LPG model itself, right? Next one. Which of the following statement about fair globalization is are correct? Fair globalization. Okay, so fair globalization means where whenever we are entering into a globalization context, it is kind of which generally creating a win-win situations or solution for all the parties or stakeholders involved in that particular transaction, right? सो ऐसा नहीं कि किसी एक कंट्री को नुकसान हो रहा है दूसरों को फायदा हो रहा है या कुछ को फायदा हो रहा है कुछ को नुकसान हो रहा है नो इट इज ऑल अबाउट लाइक लेट्स से इफ वी जैसे हमारी इकोनॉमी के अंदर वी कम अप विद द ग्लोबलाइजेशन थिंग्स दैट मीन्स वी अलाउ सम प्राइवेट पार्टीज like foreign investors in term of FDI or FIIs. So if they are coming to India, so they are not only investing capital, they are also investing their other resources like their management style, their technology and all together. So we can learn from those particular one and we can start the similar things and all things. So that kind of things. So that and it is also helping us in our employment generation and poverty elevation, the direct link with that one. So we do have so many advantages, and that company who is coming to India, they are making some setup in India. They are using our resources, which are like we do have the resources, but we do not have capital in technology. So it's a kind of win-win situation for both the countries, right? So what we have to find out statement about the fair globalization are correct. So accurate statement, fair globalization ensure that opportunities and benefit are shared equally among all nations and people. Economic development, social development, environmental protection are key pillars of supporting fair globalization. Fair globalization promote unrestricted market dominance by developed countries. No, this is wrong. So fair globalization promote, it does not promote unrestricted market dominance by developed nations, right? So if it is so, it is unfair. Then it become unfair, right? So option 1 and 2 will be right answer for this one. That means option C is the correct answer for this particular one. So statement 3 was incorrect in this particular case. Fair globalization does not promote the unrestricted dominance of developed countries, but it aims to inclusivity and equity. So this is the agenda, not the dominance things. Next one. Which of the following statement about deglobalization and protectionism are correct? So now it is deglobalization is like it is something related to closing your economies or protectionism. If you talk about the protectionism, it is something related to like I hope you guys heard about so many times government they generally put restrictions on some commodities or some goods and all by putting some higher import duties or tariffs and all like as recently done by the US government. So US government, this Donald Trump government, what they are generally doing, they just want to have that self resiliency or self efficacy, or they generally want to use their own resources. If something like let's say if Indian products are entering in US market, they are saying you can come to India, but you have to pay this much of tariff. They are increasing the taxes. So that's why the product will become costlier to the US citizen and they won't buy those particular product. So they are providing a placement for their local manufacturers or local service providers. So that is something known as like what generally they are trying. They are generally they just want to make the cutout from the rest of the economies. They want to support their own resources and all. So that is these kind of initiative they generally comes under protectionism, and that is somewhere lead to the deglobalization. All right. So deglobalization refer to the process of reducing dependency and integration among the global economies 100% true. Protectionism aim to protect domestic industries by implementing tariff, import quotas and non-tariff barriers. 100% true. So this also done by India so many time. Like sometime I hope you heard about कि जैसे जो चाइनीज गुड्स हैं उनके ऊपर हमने अपने टैरिफ ड्यूटीज या इम्पोर्ट ड्यूटीज को काफी बार इंक्रीज किया है. ठीक है. सो वी वांट टू इंक्रीज द टैक्सेस लेवल दैट मच हाई कि like जैसे what Chinese trader used to do, they generally do the price penetration. Let's say if this market is 100 rupees, okay, so what they'll do, like in India, it is Indian manufacturers selling this particular one for 100 rupees. So they'll product the same product in and they are selling in 50 rupees. Okay. So now let's say what we will do as a buyer, we are very price sensitive. We will buy the product of Chinese producers or that made in China product. Okay. So what, to protect the Indian manufacturer, what government will do, they'll increase the tariff duties. वो इतना ज़्यादा बढ़ा देंगे कि नाउ बोथ विल बिकम सेम, ठीक है. सो उन्होंने 50 रुपए से आपका इम्पोर्ट ड्यूटी बढ़ा दिया, ठीक है. सो नाउ बोथ आर 100 रुपीज एंड वी विल हैव सम सॉर्ट ऑफ सेंटिमेंट्स टुवर्ड द मेड इन इंडिया एंड ऑल, ठीक है. तो वो सब चीजें दैट विल attract the buyers toward the Indian products and all. So this is done by every government in some aspect. Yeah. So that is something known as protectionism. So basically we are protecting our local industries or our domestic companies, right? So protectionist policies always lead to an increase in job across all industries. No, it is, they are not, like if we are doing so, it can decrease the overall job market and all. So this is wrong. Events such as Britain exit from Europe, Brexit, the US-China trade dispute, and the COVID pandemic have contribution to a shift away from the globalization. Yes, we can say that. Yeah. WTO dispute settlement mechanism has played a strong role. No, it does not have any role or that much of importance role in preventing the rise of protectionism. Okay. So WPO dispute mechanism is something related to, it does play a role but not the major one, okay, not the vital role, because they are kind of things, if there is some payment settlements dispute between two economies, they do involve in that particular one. But this is something, protectionism is something which is the country's economic policy and they do have that freedom. Like US, they do have that freedom, they can have they can increase the import duties or tariffs, or even India also sometimes we also do this particular thing. So यहाँ पे WTO dispute settlement mechanism is not going to fully come out with that particular problem, or they cannot stand against the government agendas and all. Okay? So this statement is also wrong. So 124 means option A only will be right answer for this particular one. So statement 3 was incorrect. Protectionism may save some job, but it also result in job losses. Okay? And the another one is आपका statement 5 was incorrect. WTO dispute settlement mechanism has had a limited role in the preventing protectionism. Okay? It is not the fully or solely responsible for this one. Okay? So this is all about your content. Okay? Now with this summary, then we will be practicing few questions based on your book also. Okay? So term globalization referred to increased interconnectedness of global economies, culture, inhabitations as a result of cross-border trade in goods and services, technology, and flow of investment, people, and knowledge. Then we have proponents of globalization believe that it help in developing countries to catch up to develop one through increased manufacturing, diversification, economic development, and higher living standards. The advanced globalization caused significant changes in Indian economic policies, production, and consumer behaviors, which we generally promote in the name of ease of doing business. Effect of globalization in India include increased per capita income, better employment opportunities, and far more option for the customers. The importance of mutual understanding and dialogue among the government organization within and across the borders to promote social cohesion, which is a key proposition of fair globalization. Basically, we are having some sort of synergy coordination among these different nations and different organizations. At the local, national, regional, and global level, fair globalization must be supported by the independent and mutually reinforcing pillars of economic development, social development, and environmental protection. The process of reducing dependency and integration among a particular unit throughout the world is known as deglobalization. During economic and geopolitical crisis, globalization has always taken a hit as WTO regulation allow government to practice trade protection measure to preserve national interest within a specific limit. Okay? That's why protectionism cannot be solved through the WTO things and all. Okay? Protectionism result a decline in trade, price rise, or and a form of for protected industries. Unprecedented events in the recent history like Brexit. Then we have withdrawal of US from trade tariff partnership and US trade dispute, or you can, the recent one is withdrawal of US from USA, WHO, or the other organization also. So COVID-19 pandemic, Russia Ukraine war. So these are some areas who generally make a negative impact on the overall globalization things. Okay? So now let's practice. So globalization is defined as economic integration. Okay? Which organization popularized the globalization concept in 80s? OECD. Okay? Economic. Then we have which of the following is not a benefit of globalization? Political stability, rest, technology, job, economic development are the benefit. Which among the following is not a protectionism measure? Which of the following is not a protectionism measure? So increased tariff comes under this, increased quotas, increased capital account convertibility. So non-tariff barriers. Non-tariff barriers are increase capital account. Non-tariff barriers should be right answer for this one. Okay? Right? This should be right answer for this one. Okay, so this is it. So these are some areas, very small unit, or you can expect half marks question. You may get this one or may not. Okay? But we have read one unit in our module C, that is interconnectedness among international market or the institutions. Okay? So these two units are something linked with each others. और हो सकता है वो इनसे और किसी और टॉपिक के साथ लिंकेज के साथ आपको क्वेश्चन देता है, और कई बार आपका एक शॉर्ट सा छोटा सा हाफ मार्क्स और 1 मार्क्स का क्वेश्चन, इट टोटली डिपेंड ऑन द एग्जामिनर ऑल्सो. ठीक है. सो वॉट एवर रिक्वायर्ड फ्रॉम दिस पर्टिकुलर यूनिट दैट वी हैव डिस्कस इन डिटेल, इवन अगर आप लोगों ने इसका थ्योरी भी नहीं भी पढ़ा है, दैट दिस इज the like maximum content which you require to prepare for JIIB that we have discussed in this session. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this session. So this is it from my side, guys. Thank you for watching this session. Now I'll see you with our unit number 7. Okay, so this is it. Bye bye, take care all, have a nice day. Thank you.